Hi, it's Lucy Carlson here. I never get tired of politically incorrect, raunchy comedies, and in 1974, Mel Brooks unleashed one of the most infamous ones of all in the world. The movie I'm talking about, of course, is Blazing Saddles, which is released on 4K courtesy of Warner. I'm going to unbox this Steelbook release and share my opinions. Again, there is a standard release and a limited edition Steelbook release. This is the Steelbook. Unfortunately, right from the get-go, I'm not a fan of this art. It's literally just a saddle on fire. Why couldn't they use the original movie poster art? Why couldn't they use characters from the film? Anything would have been better than this. I mean, even the standard edition doesn't have great art, but that's still better than this. It at least included characters. Top of the backing card. Back of the backing card. Yeah, the spine text. This does include a digital code of the film. And then we have our 4K disc here. Just a brief disclaimer, this is a 4K disc only. This does not include a Blu-ray copy, which unfortunately is a habit that Warner has been falling into lately. Something I hope doesn't become the norm from here on out. Okay, on the inside of the Steelbook, you at least have sort of a cast crawl here, so that's something. At least you have the characters somewhere on the package. So just a disclaimer, because there is no Blu-ray included, and I can't do 4K screen caps, any images you see in this review are taken from Google searches or they are photos of my TV. They are not screen caps. They do not represent the quality of this 4K release. Never give a saga an even break. Welcome to the Western only Mel Brooks could create. Voted number 6 on AFI's 100 Years, 100 Laughs. This comedy classic stars Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder as a sheriff and a sharpshooter defending a small town from villains Slim Pickens and Harvey Korman. Featuring a brilliant cast that includes Brooks and an Oscar-nominated Madeline Kahn, and loaded with one-liners, gags, and cameos. This breakthrough parody still breaks the rules, breaks stereotypes, and breaks wind all in one setting. See it again and be offended like it's the first time. I love me a good comedy, and I especially love comedies that are raunchy, politically incorrect, and offensive. Blazing Saddles is all of these things. 50 years later, it's still entertaining and it's still offending. And bless the great Mel Brooks for that. The man's pushing 100 years old and he's still working. He's made many great films over the years, and this may be his most famous, and rightfully so. It's kind of funny that he put this out and Young Frankenstein in the same year. Both great comedies, both directed by the same man, but both couldn't be more different. Whereas Young Frankenstein was more of an homage to the classic Frankenstein films of yesteryear, Blazing Saddles is basically just an all-out slapstick comedy extravaganza that throws caution to the wind, takes no prisoners, and gives no damns about political correctness, and those are all the reasons I absolutely love this film. The casting is great as well, including Slim Pickens and Harvey Korman playing laughably incompetent villains we can't help but laugh at despite their evil intentions. Cleavon Little, an actor I don't think it's talked about enough, playing Bart the sheriff, who of course comes to protect the town, but due to his race, he immediately earns their ire without doing a thing. And then you have his one friend in town, the sharpshooter, who of course has fallen into disgrace and drunkenness, portrayed by the always entertaining Gene Wilder. And it's not long before all hell breaks loose in the town of Rock Ridge, and our sheriff hero has to do what he can to defend the town from evil. Over time, of course, he puts his skills to the test and does what's necessary to win them over. This movie, again, moves at breakneck speed, never stops. And of course, it goes from witty one-liners to the most lowbrow laughs that you can possibly imagine. You're probably familiar with the infamous campfire scene. I'm not going to go into the details here, but I will say this. It is what it is. And of course, Mel Brooks here gave us a classic for the ages. I also want to point out, well, this is certainly a politically incorrect movie. I mean, the N-word gets thrown around pretty liberally. It is not a racist film. In fact, the black sheriff in this film is by far the most intelligent character. He might even be arguably the only intelligent character in the entire film. And what he does here ultimately wins him the respect. I would argue in a lot of ways this movie is an allegory against racism, and it does what it does exceptionally well. Mel Brooks is a master of his craft, and bless that man for giving us one of the funniest, most politically incorrect, most offensive films of all time, one I always look forward to revisiting. Blazing Saddles arrives on 4K, and I have to say, the results are not great. The film just looks flat throughout. It's very soft. I suspect there may have been some degree of noise reduction and processing used here. This is not a horrible image, but there's nothing worth writing home about here either. If you already own this movie on Blu-ray, I don't know that it's really worth upgrading to the 4K. I would wait for this one to go on sale before you buy it, if you're considering. As far as bonus features go, we do get some bonus features that appeared on earlier releases of the film, although unfortunately not all of the bonus features. There is one new featurette that runs about 20 minutes, but there are some things missing from older releases, including the Black Bart television pilot, and it's disappointing not to see that here. But there is a pretty decent assortment of stuff from the earlier releases, plus that new featurette I mentioned, so it's not a bare bones package. So, how do I feel about this release? Blazing Saddles is one of the funniest movies ever made, and there's really no arguing with that, but the art on the Steelbook is just lame. The transfer is dull at best. Again, I think a lot of this may be due to the inherent source material. I don't know if it's possible to make this movie look any better. But again, if you have the older Blu-ray, I would probably just stick to that. Get this 4K if you can find it on sale for a good price. I mean, during Black Friday, we might have a pretty decent sale coming up. Otherwise, though, stick with your Blu-ray. How about you? What do you think of Blazing Saddles? Do you think this is one of the funniest comedies of all time? Do you love politically incorrect, offensive movies as much as I do? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos. And make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.